beautifuls. Oh, big heart hugs. It's so wonderful to be seen by your light and in your presence today. I hope you gave yourself a little hug. I wanted to take a moment and talk a bit more about inner child healing. So this is going to be tips and different perspectives on it. This is something that has been coming up quite a bit, not only just the grounding that we may be feeling that we're needing, and the grounding that we're needing really is to connect with the vibration and frequency of the earth, which is of our bodies and who we are and what it is that we are moving toward in this spiritual journey, in this healing journey, in this ascension at this time, the shifting of energy for humanity and for the earth, right? This overall earth matrix that we are experiencing in. So inner child healing being a theme that's going on right now. The inner child is often neglected. It's often put aside. It's often, thought to be doing all right. This is an interesting process of healing because we start to see the inner child as simply just a child, right? As a child self. It's not like this more matured person that is able to assist us in moving forward and whatever it is that we're doing within our lives, right? We start to see it as a part of ourselves. We just check in. We're like, hey, how you doing? Cool, awesome. I'm gonna go do my thing now, right? And this is not inner child healing. Okay, that's checking with yourself. This is checking in with how you're doing. This is maintaining your state of being. And we are not necessarily aiming to maintain, a sense of happiness or joy just with our inner child. You could be experiencing so many things that could just rock your nervous system, rock your world in a sense that we feel may not be connected to the inner child, but it absolutely is. Okay, so I'm going to go a bit deeper into this. But the inner child is this aspect of our being that is completely in connection to our higher self. But the inner child doesn't really realize that aspect of themselves because of the hurt and the programs and the beliefs that we are holding onto and operating from to survive in our reality, to survive in what we call the world, in community, in society, right? So when we are actually honoring and doing the healing of the inner child, offering this younger version of yourself your wisdom, the healing, the recognition of this powerful purity, this powerful love, this powerful play, this innocence of what a child represents, this immediate connection, like no disconnection from source whatsoever besides being in a physical body in this matrix. When we do that, we are merging the higher self with that inner child aspect, and we are not necessarily rocked by many things. So when things start to land, when beliefs, what we've been working on, what we've been healing through, just all of a sudden we're like one day after the repetition of whatever practices we have, whatever, we're anchoring into our being, the choices that we're making, the way that we are showing up, the presence in which we are choosing at this time, the beingness of who we are, when that lands, we're just like, oh, this is how I operate now, like I'm not overthinking anymore. This doesn't bother me as much. I'm able to regulate myself more. I'm not, going nuts hearing this one thing or seeing someone make a face toward me. I'm not giving it so much meaning because that is a reclamation of your power. So all of these, phrases that we hear often, take back your power, reclaim your power, remember who you are. This is that part of that process of healing the inner child, of bringing the inner child to this more, I guess you could say this awakened state, this transcended state of being. All right. So how do we do this? How do we do this in a way to where we are truly honoring the inner child? Okay, this is going to be different for everyone. Hello, hummingbird. Just sitting on the tree in front of me. Hi. I've helped many people really connect with that aspect of them, but what I notice is that we tend to start to see the inner child as just a child, and I want us to kind of remove ourselves from that a bit and to recognize the power of the child. So what I bring, those that work with me, maybe you have, that are moving through that process of inner child healing are starting to experience the patterns and the beliefs and, the nervous system kind of going whoop haywire on them in whatever situation it may be. We bring ourselves into a place where we can truly observe and see this younger self fully as they are. And oftentimes when we go to this being, there may be some emotions that arise. We may notice, they are a little bit turned off by us, or maybe they're worried. We are not necessarily here to be their parents. We're here to be their guardians. We're here to be their angels. We're here to be their guides. All right, to bring them home to themselves. And that's what we're doing for ourselves when we actually bring ourselves to that place of recognizing, okay, you may have healed a situation, a time in your past, maybe like an age that you were, but that doesn't mean that your inner child is just chilling. Okay, there are many instances that may have seeded a certain belief or program within you that could be getting triggered in your life. So this isn't something that once you do it once, you're good. All right, this is more so connecting to yourself and your intuition and what's coming up. And if we notice that there's a memory coming up, that there's a feeling coming up, that there's a vision coming up of maybe a time where you were looked at a certain way, where someone said something to you or something happened to you or around you, or you witnessed something, we can go back to that place, recognize what's happening here. Yes, you can change your fate in that sense and actually rewrite what happened, but it's important to bring your inner child, yourself, into a safe place. And whatever that may be for you, paint the picture, get them there and see them as their full, sovereign, pure essence, right? This is your pure essence here, okay? And we move so far away from the play, we move so far away from the purity in all that we do and all that we consume in our lives that we forget what that experience feels like. We forget what that looks like. So this is where the inner child can teach us so much, can remind us so much of who we are, is when we see them in this place where they are free completely to shine and to be exactly as they are, exactly who they are, to simply exist as this pure essence, okay? Your inner child holds that pure essence. They truly, truly do. And it wasn't until we were told all of these things that, or we had all of these experiences, all these imprints on us, that it shifted the way in which we operate, the way in which we be. So this is a powerful way to start to learn from and recognize that your inner child is here holding wisdom for you as well. All right, unlocking aspects of who you are and who you get to step into. And the higher self really assists in that process too, if that's an energetic aspect of yourself that you work with. All right, so you can go back to all the memories you want, but as soon as you bring your inner child to that place of freedom, we may not fully see the purity of the child, of our essence, of our soul in that time, okay? And this is a process that I've gone through with many, and it's wonderful because we go through it, and that really gives you a lot more confidence to be able to do that for yourself as well. There isn't just one way to do it. Some people really move through their inner child healing by moving through the chakras, going from the root all the way up to the crown and perhaps even the soul star, and we start to see each level there's something to be unraveled, there's something to be seen, to be witnessed, to be loved, to offer guidance to be unveiled within ourselves. Okay, so all of that to say is like the inner child isn't just this your child. It's not like you're not their parent, okay? And I think that, at least for me in my journey, when it started out and I was learning more about inner child healing, it was like, you get to be the mom and dad now. And it's like, actually, we get to be the guide, offering them the full freedom to be who they are, and to see how that shifts and how that, how we respond to that in our lives, with this sense and this feeling of freedom within ourselves, right? If you are continuing to be the parent and you're not always able to be there, you may be perpetuating the belief systems that your parents may have placed upon you in their interaction, consciously or subconsciously. Yeah, you're not just there to be your parents, okay? So let's just let that go right now, because that will just keep us in a place where we're just checking in and we're saying, hey, peace, how's it going? Like, let me listen to you, but not fully allowing ourselves to operate from this space of liberation and love and purity, which is truly a huge aspect of taking our power back and remembering who we are. So another aspect of inner child healing is trauma healing. And this I like to associate with the body as well. Any body work or somatic healing or practices that we may have. So inner child healing truly also is trauma healing. When we go back to these memories or these states of being, we find ourselves maybe in loops, experiencing a lot of fear, operating from this fear, from past events and things. It's almost like in the body it could show up as a knot or as a symptom within the body, or even just scar tissue. I imagine just like scar tissue, just building up and up and up and up, trying to keep ourselves, alive and moving forward, but still creating stagnancy and like this frozen energy. And that's really what I see this trauma as. And when we actually go back to these states of being, this doesn't mean you need to bring up the memories, bring up the emotions or anything like that, but it means that you get to address and be present with what it is that you are experiencing. All right. And there is medicine there that our higher self may have for us to move forward from that space of stagnancy, to move forward from that frozen state of what trauma brings us into, the nervous system just fully going haywire and then just staying there and not necessarily finding any type of homeostasis. And when we are really meeting with our inner child, doing that work, this can really assist in allowing the traumas that we have experienced in our life, the frozen energy, the frozen beliefs and memories that we're holding on to, whether it's in our body or in our mind or emotional state of being, we are loosening the grip. Okay, so this is where inner child healing is so helpful, because we're loosening the grip, and we can utilize our experience with inner child healing by really healing through memories like when we were a teenager, an adult, maybe a few weeks ago, and to really utilize that knowledge and that ability to hold ourselves, right? The way that in which we hold our inner child in that process of healing. Okay, this is that compassion, that love, that purity energy, that freedom energy that's coming through to infuse and start to melt away these layers that we have created through the traumas within our bodies or within our minds, within our energy, the imprints that we hold. So trauma is something that you truly can move forward from as we begin to melt away the effects of what it has had, because this is the most important thing. When something happens, it's the effect that has had on you. This is what that is, and it's our ability to adapt that decides whether or not we are going to, go haywire or just like fall down into a pit when it comes to that, and we may not even notice that we are there. So trauma healing, very integrated into our inner child healing, and also any body work that we do. And the big medicine here when it comes to inner child healing, trauma healing, body healing, is presence, is your ability to be. And this doesn't mean you need to be still or anything. This means that you get to practice not only just awareness, but being present and being able to choose to feel rather than escape or distract, right? To allow yourself to cope in the ways that you are feeling called to cope. I think that a lot of the time we have this part of our being that says something's right or something's wrong, and this is not a natural state of being for us. I think this is based on Judeo-Christian beliefs. It's very much a colonized idea when it comes to our sense of time and healing, our sense of right and wrong, and how we are supposed to take care of ourselves or not. And that creates a lot more pressure and tension than it needs to be. This doesn't offer us any sense of freedom. So if you're coping in a way that seems unhealthy and you're judging yourself for it, look into that. Look into that. That doesn't give us a right to just, abuse things to help us just maintain a state of not being present fully within our being. No, not at all. But it does give us an opportunity to recognize what we are naturally doing to help our body and our minds move from a state of intense trauma and just like frozen beliefs and energy within our being, to start to melt that away. All right, especially if something's very fresh, especially if you're going through inner child healing that feels deeply wound and triggered within your everyday life right now, and your relationships and the things that you do. So I say that to just really bring awareness to it, to recognize if you are someone that's doing that, that's not necessarily giving yourself freedom or being curious about what's going on, but more so judging these aspects of yourself and what it is that you choose to do. If there's something that you truly do want to change, can you bring compassion into that process? Right? In the process of moving toward what it is that you want to be doing for yourself. If it's something where you don't want to be scrolling on Instagram, you don't want to be watching videos and doing who knows what online, then how can you be compassionate and loving and recognizing what it is offering you and start to shift that into something else that can offer you something similar, until you can recognize that something that is within you that you may be looking for, right? And I feel like some of the time it's distraction. It's this ability of not being able to move forward. We hold so many standards for ourselves. And this, once again, comes back to healing the inner child. And I want to say, you don't always need to go back to the memory. You don't always need to go back to that at all. It can be very powerful, very helpful in actually shifting the energy and the way that you relate to it, so that you can go into your life and do things a bit differently. Or you can allow what's coming through to come through, to recognize that you are a sovereign being, and to move from that place of transforming the energy that you are feeling, of feeling the energy that you are feeling, of listening to the body without needing to fix it in the moment, right? This whole idea of needing to rush, that we don't have enough time and all of these things. Yes, this is a temporary experience, but what is that adding to your life, this rushing, this need to do it now? It's one thing if it's a calling and it excites you, but if it's something to where it's like, I'm not going to be able to experience life fully if I don't heal this, how is that helping you right now? How is that helping you? It doesn't help you. You can have standards for yourself and like a desire to be a certain way, but recognize the approach in which you are looking to get to this more embodied, integrated aspect of who you are. Because that is what you are seeding into your being. This is what you are sharing with your inner child, right? With the children of the world. Just things to think about. All right, so this is a lot longer than I intended, but I want to continue this conversation. This is something that I'm very passionate about. It has truly and completely changed my life and my mind more so than anything. Really allowing myself to engage in inner child healing from these lenses and perspectives, and trauma healing as well, and body healing, and just kind of moving the way in which I do things, because it is the way in which I parent myself. It is the way in which I guide myself. And I want it to be one of liberation, like freedom. I want it to feel free. This ability to be, this recognition that I am enough. That it's not even a question of enoughness or worthiness at all. That I am of the earth. That my essence is meant to be here. And I get to choose how it is that I operate within this life. And I truly want to do that from those values that I hold. And that could be something else that can be really, really, really helpful. And this is something I do within my program, Liberate Love, is to really start with the core values and go from there. Go from there. Start looking at your life from that lens and being present with it, and learning how to let your love be the medicine in the honoring of your values and how it is that you choose to live, how it is that you choose to be, right? You can simply be. But yes, we have these programs and these beliefs and these wild connections to the collective that are just, they're not of the pureness of our inner child. They're not of that same pureness. A lot of it's ego, a lot of it's fear, and it can get really complicated when we get into it. So, yeah, we get to choose. We really do get to choose, and I want that to be a huge reminder here, that this is a reclamation of your power. You doing this presence thing with all that is within you. I hope to create a lot more content to help those of you that are wanting to understand how to do inner child healing for yourself, how to go about it, how to hold yourself. If we do not always have that example of what this unconditional love could be, it can be a bit difficult for us to offer that to ourselves. And we get to learn that by connecting with our soul, by connecting with the earth. The earth is here as like one of our greatest teachers in that. And the land and all our relations has really, really assisted me in that process of understanding how to hold myself and how to guide myself in that process. So I hope to create more content on this if it's something that is really calling to you. If you would like a bit of assistance in the process, so that you can feel more confident offering this to yourself, this is different ways of working with your inner child, then just email me. I am offering private sessions. It is integrated into everything that I do. So thank you so much for watching this video. Share down below if you have any comments, any questions at all, if you'd like to explore more content like this, if you have anything to share with others as they are moving through any trauma healing, any inner child healing, just self-healing, inner healing, right? If you have anything to share, please do. I'm sending you all so much love, unconditional love to every aspect of your being. Thank you for being here. I will hopefully see you in another video very soon. Mwah.